name is Max, and my project is a visual guide and simulation tool to accompany the Machine Learning for Trading course here at OMSES. My project is aimed at providing a tool to allow students to visually see how their parameter and hyperparameter selection impacts model behavior. The goal of this project is to help students build a deeper, intuitive understanding of how these models learn. I'll start by covering what my initial wireframes for Milestone 1 looked like and how they changed based on that feedback. Then I'll do a demo of what the website looks like right now, what's missing, what's broken, and what I plan to add. So these are my Milestone 1 Figma wireframes. If you want to see the previous Milestone video, I included the link in the description of this video. And some of the feedback I received from my mentor and peers is here. I need to give more data feedback to whoever's using it. They need suggestions on how to actually use the website and how to do hypothesis testing. And I need to make it a bit simpler. So there's a lot of stuff here, and this didn't actually include some of the data inputs. So the suggestion was to make sure to keep it simple on my final version. One more piece of advice I received was that I get input from people who've taken machine learning for trading. That way they can tell me if they think it would have actually been useful for me. And here is what my wireframes look like after attempting to implement the feedback. None of this is super high fidelity, and I've continued to edit it a little bit here and there. So it doesn't actually match what my website looks like 100%, but I'll just go over some of the edits I made here. First thing is I wanted to make this homepage more readable. Before it was kind of a big blob of text. It wasn't broken up, not super clear. I put things into specific steps. I'm just breaking up the paragraphs visually, and I'm trying to make it as impactful as possible. I don't want someone to click on the homepage and then just immediately click off because they don't want to read the notes. The next thing I did, and these were kind of just rough guesses at what it would look like because I hadn't started working on the website meaningfully yet. I had done a little bit before I received my feedback, but not a lot. The idea here is that I would hide the feature selection behind another menu. That way, people have their basic features already preset, and they could edit it further if they want to, or they could just continue testing without editing it. And here you can see this would be just kind of selecting features. The other thing I added was over here, there are two buttons. The first one is just a question mark. It explains how to actually use the website, what the buttons are, what they'd be doing. And the other thing is this goal button here. I'll talk about this a little bit more when I present what my website looks like in a moment, but pretty much I wanted to have like a suggested state they should get their tree to. So, maybe say, hey, get this tree to have more depth to it, something like that. And I'll start presenting my website. So this is what it actually looks like right now. This page, pretty much the same. I added some color. I need to make some more hyperlinks here. I'm going to link to more data, and I'll probably link these specific parts to the course descriptions in order to help people connect it to the actual course. But this is pretty much just what the homepage will look like. And if you look here, it looks a bit different. The first thing is I received feedback to limit the input values from my mentor. So someone who might not really fully understand where all these hyperparameters are, they might not realize that if this were a text entry, they can't put 0 or 1 or something like that into these values. So these are just hard limits to make sure they use legitimate values and they can start visualizing right off the bat. The other thing is that there's this blank spot on the right side. This isn't done yet, so a lot of this stuff just isn't done. But this area over here, I plan to fill with a collapsible guide. So it'll say something like, um, look at, try maybe train the learner, see what the resultant image looks like. This is a visualization of the tree. And I might say, okay, increase the max depth to 3. And these will be in instructions with steps. And press the train learner again and say, did the visualization change at all? Yes or no? Have them consider why, and then have them change max leaf node to whatever value they want, right? And then you can say, hey, it changed. How did it change and why? And the goal of that is to just help them understand how to use the website, what the buttons are, um, and get them into the pattern of hypothesis testing, which is discussed on the homepage. Like I mentioned, this isn't really done. If you look at the QLearner page, it's pretty much empty. It just has the basics. That's actually because I'm pivoting a little bit right now into focusing on more depth. I have things like tooltips here for some of this, but I need to add a lot more tooltips to help students understand each of the concepts. If you click Train Learner, you see the names of these features, but they need to have tooltips here explaining them as well. I need to link to where they can read more about them, that kind of stuff. So I'm actually right now, I'm focusing more on adding depth to this page and planning that out. I'm going to pull some sticky notes onto the screen here so you can read along. This is the stuff that I still need to work on, the unfinished portions of the website. I need to increase the amount of data visualized. So I'll probably add another graph, maybe some more statistics. I'm not 100% sure what that is yet. I do want to keep the website simple so that people aren't overwhelmed by graphics. Like I said, I'll be prompting them for a specific task. For example, looking at that tree and editing the values here. I need to finish adding the feature selection. In this over here, my wireframes, I had that hidden behind a gear. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same, but I do want to hide the feature selection to keep visual complexity to a minimum. I want a dedicated hints page, like I mentioned in that same wireframe, to explain how the website works. And again, like I mentioned, this right side panel, there needs to be a goal state as well. So for example, have the student using it, maybe try to get it to overfit. Choose one of these pre-selected trees, right? I'll have one that's set to be an overfit tree, and I'll prompt them, hey, make it not overfit anymore, or vice versa. And this I also actually discussed already, but I need to add tooltips, hyperlinks, that kind of stuff here, pretty much to any area where there's a technical term. And there are also some bugs here. I tested this decision tree. I had to rewrite it to use specific libraries, for example, for the visualization. And when I'm testing it manually, it does actually work. I can get the test and train values to change as expected, but when I'm testing it with the UI, you'll see performance is really flat. It's almost like it's not using the model for the test values. I have to figure that out. The other thing is visually, this is a bit hard to follow. You have to scroll down to see this. I do need to figure out how to make this look a bit better. So thank you. I would appreciate any feedback you can give.